Thank you, Sugandhi, for the thoughtful recap. We are all set to begin our second lecture of the day, and once again, we have with us Dr. Antonio Rapso, whose sessions have already inspired us to look at food and nutrition through both scientific and human perspectives. In this upcoming session, he will be speaking on vending machines, food safety and quality assessment focused on food handlers, and the variables involved in the industry. This topic will help us understand how technology driven food systems maintain safety and quality, and how the role of food handlers and operational factors can influence the food we consume through these systems. So, without any delay, please join me in welcoming once again Dr. Antonio Rapso to deliver his lecture.
Good morning once again, and here we are for this second session of the day entitled Vending Machines, Food Safety and Quality Assessment focused on food handlers and the variables involved in the industry. And I will start for asking you if what is your knowledge about these devices, vending machines, if you have already buy anything, any food item from these devices. At least until the moment I'm here, I didn't see a lot of vending machines, especially in the here in the neighborhoods. So we'll discuss a little on this industry and on this way of expanding foods, sell foods that in some societies, in some places, are a very growing industry, and of course we can find some benefits and also some drawbacks of this type of expanding foods. When we talk about the vending industry, it's important to mention that it is not only related to foods. A lot of items can be sold automatically through these devices, and Japan is the world leader in this aspect. They sell everything in vending machines, and it represents a very huge amount of money. And they have a lot of machines all over, not only in some specific place in companies, university campus, health service buildings, but also in the streets, every place. So we have a proportion of one machine per 31 citizens, and it represents about 23 and a half, almost 23 and a half million euros per years regarding the income, regarding the funding representation of this industry. In Spain, and why Spain? Spain is where this study was carried out. So I bring here some data from Spain, and also because Spain is one of the leaders in the European context. So anyway, you can see the difference of representation of this industry when compared with the US and Japan. You have here in Spain 2 billion per year and 95 citizens for one machine per 95 citizens. And the most representative kind of product sold in vending machines in Spain are foods, but don't forget also that tobacco is also a very commercialized product in these devices. Of course, we will focus on foods, and when we divide in type of food, we find that hot drinks are the most present items that you can find in machines, and then of course other kind of food, snacks, cool drinks, and we have already some ready-to-eat prepared foods that can be found, some salads that can be found in these devices, of course, in less in less quantities, less amounts. But you have already been seeing those kinds of foods also present in the machines. This first session, because in perhaps tomorrow and the other day we'll have other session regarding the nutritional properties, nutritional quality, and the trends of consumption of the population regarding this industry. But firstly, we will see how safe can be food expended from these machines. And we first have to talk about the HACCP system. I don't know if all of you have already heard about it. In Portugal, it is mandatory for every people that sell food to adopt and to have an implemented HACCP system in their company. The only exception is the primary production. So all the other elements all over the food chain must have an hazard analysis critical control point system implemented and adopted in the companies. And starting to talk about this HCCP system, it was by the end of the 80s of the past century that it was already considered the most appropriate method to make or to assure this food safety. And during the times and other studies later found that all vending machine companies should have to control the quality and safety of their operations by the adoption and the using of this system. Here in the image you can see some examples of food vending machines and what information must be included on these devices. Of course, the product and who is offering this product, the type of product that is selling, the price, the identity of the supplier, and the address telephone number where complaints must be handled. Regarding the machine that dispenses the product, the type of coins it accepts, the instructions for obtaining the desired product, as well as the accreditation for compliance with applicable technical regulations. Not only the coins, at this point we have also some machines that also say accept credit and debit cards and banknotes. But all of these specifications must be acknowledged of the consumer when arrive to the machine and when they want to obtain something from the machine. So, if these vending machines are installed in a premise belonging to a company or private activity, the owners of the same shall be jointly liable with the owner of the vending machine itself to the buyer about the compliance with obligations arising from the automatic sale. And we have then the food handlers. Food handlers are those people that will handle and manipulate the food at some point of food chain. And even those ones who make the transportation of these food items from the company to the vending machine, they are food handlers. So traditional approaches to food hygiene controls, such as the legislation, inspections, and in-product testing, have proven to be inefficient. So training is a possible solution. We have to train these people, educate these people, offering long-term benefits that are transferred through all the food industry. And these both dimensions, education and training, are essential in the implementation of any hazard analysis critical control point system. So, training should be provided to supervisory personnel, usually middle managers on standards of conduct, and support from those responsible for the supervisory role will increase the success of any food safety program within the industry. Everyone must be involved in the implementation of the system, in the training sessions, in the educations, and all of the elements in a company, in a food company, must be aware of their responsibilities and must participate as part of this implementation and monitoring of this HACP system. Regarding the microbiology, it will depend, of course, the type of food we are selling in these devices. But, for example, beverage vending machines are restocked, cleaned, and maintained by operating companies. Cleaning frequency varies depending the type of machine, frequency of use, and location. And inside the machine, there are several areas where moist dust can accumulate and which need to be cleaned to prevent the growth of microorganisms. Otherwise, we have the very good conditions for these microorganisms to develop. We have, for example, milk powder, coffee, chocolate powder, we have water. So if we don't hygienize, sanitize properly these machines with the frequent use of them, the conditions for the microbial growth are increased a lot. So, of the foods available, most are confectionery products or packaged snacks, such as chocolate bars or chips, and however, more perishable foods, such as sandwiches and all cooked and go meals, are increasingly sold in vending machines, and temperature and expiration date are also two important aspects when it comes to these foods. This will always depend on the kind of foods we have. There aren't a lot of studies in this specific industry, in these specific foods that came from expanded from the vending machines. But in the studies we can find in the literature, there are some reports identifying some microorganisms like this I mentioning here, and also in cold water dispensers and cool beverage vending machines, and another ones on hot beverage vending machines. We can find some of those with more than 1 decade, more than 2 decades. In this case, Robertson analyzed samples from the dispenser nozzle areas, drip trays, and splash areas of both hot and cold beverage machines, and he found that the total viable microorganism count in the dispenser nozzle was 100 times higher than in the other two areas. And E. coli was also found in 13% of the nozzles. Later, these researchers also reported the case of food poisoning by Bacillus cereus at a manufacturing plant in the state of Minneapolis, United States, where employees suffered from vomiting and nausea 1 hour after drinking hot chocolate dispensed from a vending machine located at the plant. Today, there are more studies, of course, focused on the identification of some of these microorganisms, and in this particular case of Bacillus cereus, we have this study not beverage vending machines and hot chocolate dispensed by these machines using the PCR and the RAPD methods to identify the presence of these microorganisms. Commercially prepared sandwiches have also been responsible for foodborne outbreaks. A large amount of different pathogens, and these outbreaks can also include some of these microorganisms like Staphylococcus, Campylobacter, Salmonella, and Nettol. And of course, some of these are related with food products we find in vending machines. Cook and chill meals that we are finding also in some vending machines are frequently reheated in a microwave oven located next to the machine. And we can imagine that the potential risk, especially of listeria in these meals, in these foods, appears to be increased by concerns about the ability of some microwaves to read the food adequately. So one study reported the effect of standard microwave heating of deliberately contaminated foods. Another important aspect is the quality of the water. These hot drink machines, the main component of the food, of the drink sold, is water, so it is important to ensure that it complies with all the legislation aspects and that we have potable water in the machines. So what we made regarding this, or what was the study we conducted? So the main goals of the study were to analyze the quality and safety parameters of food products that these devices expanded that were sold in vending machines. So an hygienic sanitary assessment we conducted in about 340 machines located in Spain, in the island of Gran Canaria, and we applied surveys regarding the hygiene measures undertaken, regarding the knowledge of food handlers, and of course, we have also undertaken microbiological analysis of the food and water that were included in the machines, and physicochemical water controls. So this was to assess the quality and safety parameters of these products. Despite of the positive results we obtained from the service applied to all the vending machines, achieving a total mean score of 87.6, this is out of 100, the microbiological analysis identified 5%, almost 6% of the 105 food samples that were contaminated with listeria. So this is quite concerns. While other microorganisms were not identified or were below the legally permitted limits. The lack of vehicles able to transport this perishable food at the adequate temperatures, and the fact that some refrigerated vending machines were not at an ideal cooling temperature may be the factors we found that most contributed to these not so good or these negative values. The assessment tools we used revealed hygienic deficiencies in the transportation and microbiological quality of some of these products, despite the favorable results obtained in the service and food handler examinations, indicating that this relationship should be subject of course, further investigations to improve the usefulness in the field of this HACCP system and to assure the safety and quality parameters of the food that is sold in the vending machines. What can we conclude? What is concluded from this study? So it provided important data about the relationship between the hygienic sanitary state of vending machines and the quality safety of the products expended by them, taking into account the importance of hygienic knowledge of the intervening food handlers. The service, this hygienic assessment service applied to the food handlers and the food handlers examinations about their knowledge about the good hygiene practices, the good manufacturing practices, was revealed and was proven to be a very interesting tool for assessing the prerequisites to the implementation of the hazard analysis critical control points system. In this case, discovering the deficiencies in the transportation of food and possible hygiene deficiencies found during the processing of products produced by the vending company. Therefore, we believe that vending companies should focus on their efforts on ensuring the hygiene of their products by reducing risks rather than trying to extend their shelf life, which could contribute to increasing these very risks. And further investigations, further studies focused on this relationship between the hygienic sanitary state of the vending machines and the hygienic knowledge of food handlers of the good hygiene practices should provide more data about the importance of the influence of hygienic knowledge and its applicability by food handlers in the quality and safety of the products expended by to the consumer. This is a very important point. So please let me know your experience, your knowledge, your contact with these devices. Have you already buy something from a vending machine? Any food product? Do you think that they have, from the point of view of safety, and please leave the discussion about the nutritional quality of the products for another session we will have, I think, tomorrow. We are now focused on the safety quality parameters regarding these devices. Okay, please let me know your thoughts, your opinion, and your questions. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So the main thing which I believe that still now here in India the vending machines are not that much like have captured the market is because of the ticket size of the products which are found in the vending machines.
You don't have vending machines here.
No, like very less compared to
Very
what
less.
we find very common in Japan. So like.
But you are talking in this particular area or in the whole country?
I'm talking about my whole nation.
Oh,
Like
in all
mostly
India.
yeah, I've seen them in hospitals, but mostly elite hospitals. You won't find them at the government institutes because the crowd which comes at the government level is not that much capable of buying food items from vending machines. As the ticket size, as I said earlier, the price which you get in a vending machine for any packet, for example, a packet of chips, you'll find it at a cost of 20 rupees or 20 cents
That is why I
in the
am
local
any other
market.
place.
In the local market, whereas you'll find it almost the price is double, almost for 40 cents, like 40 rupees.
Okay.
So that is one of the reasons that I believe that they're not yet that much
What can be the advantage you can find in selling food from these devices?
Yeah, there is one advantage which I saw here in my university. Like most of the times we do overtime for in lab experiments, mostly during nights till 8 or 9.
Yes, that is for
At,
true.
at that time we don't have
You can put the machine everywhere you want since you have
exactly.
electricity, and they are 24 hours available for you to get
Yeah.
what you want from the
So
machine.
that is one of the positive.
That is one of the main, of course, one of the main positive aspects related to, and another.
Because I've personally found that like it's necessary here at least. Because
Another thing is that you don't need to have any people there to sell the food, so you don't
exactly.
have to pay any salary. And for example, when you go to a canteen, when you go to a restaurant, to another food establishment, you have something, you have someone that will serve the food, that will prepare the food. The machine, no, you can you can have only the machine, and you don't need to pay any salary. So the human resources are fewer, of course. You have to, or the company must have to have someone to go there to make the replacement of the foods and to make the cleaning of the foods of the machine. So, but it's different from a food establishment where a restoration establishment that you need to have, of course, people preparing the food, serving the food, selling the items to the consumer, to the client. So these perhaps are the two main advantages of the machines. But of course, some drawbacks are related too. Sometimes when people want to make some complaint or something, it is not working. It takes much longer. Of course, you have in the machine, as we saw, the whole data, the whole details from the provider, from the owner of the machine, the contact, but you need to contact it, so you don't have, it's different when you go to a food establishment or any other establishment. And if something is not well, you can ask directly to them, to the people out there, and most of the time solve the problem right there. And with the vending machines, this is not so easy. But of course, in some kind of environments like hospitals, like university campus, and
Yeah, like where
and
there is a 24
sometimes
hour
where you
working
don't have
period.
any other alternative, this can be a very interesting solution. Another problem when you have, for example, these vending machines near school environments and or near children, and with some kind of products that children shouldn't consume in so large amounts. For example, pastry, sweets, soft drinks. This is more related with another topic that we'll discuss in the other session, but of course it's sometimes quite difficult to make this separation. That is another drawback because you haven't any kind of control when they go to a canteen in the school. The food that you provide to the children is of course more monitored, more controlled, compared if they have the money that the parents give to them, the coins, and go to the machine and to pick up whatever they want. And of course, if they see the sweets, if they see, it is more difficult to make them to choice for other healthier food. And but that is another a topic that we'll discuss in our session. That is the nutritional profile and the quality of the foods that are in these machines. I would like to leave this topic for the discussion we will have for sure tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Regarding the safe, do you think that it's easier to control food safety here in these machines when compared with a food establishment, a canteen? It's easier or not? Not necessarily.
Like I don't find it that much different from the canteens because in canteens you will get hot food, basically like samosas or like the ones which are prepared in front of you, which requires frying basically. And when you talk about vending machines, so for meals ready to eat, I find it very hard that it will work out here.
Yes, the question here that most of these products that are in the machines are less handled products. So in theory, it could be easier to make some control of the safety parameters. When you have more handling and more handling stages, the probability of you get contamination on your foods is getting higher. So from that perspective, we can, generally speaking, we can say that perhaps yes, it can be easier. It can be easier to achieve these goals of food safety.
Yeah, but when we talk about the thinking or the psychology that mostly the consumer, he wants a fresh food item rather than a packaged food item. Like
Yes, but in some cases we have already fresh food in the machines. That will depend what foods will be contained on the machines. And of course, all of us, at least, have contact with vending machines. Food vending machines associate the presence of junk food, of snacks, salty snacks, confectionery products, soft drinks to these machines. But now things are a little bit changing, and we have seen the presence of some healthier options like fruits, vegetables, salads are also contained in the machines. But yes, firstly, it's just we are accustomed to make this connection between vending machines with junk food, with salty food, with sweet foods. That is the most knowledgeable connection we make with this.
and
But
like
that
there
is not so true in West.
one more thing is that this requires logistics like supply chain. When we talk about vending machines, so for example, if you're installing a vending machine at a place, it requires continuous restocking.
Yes,
For that,
yes.
you need
That is a responsibility, of course,
exactly.
that the company that must assure the restocking, and not only the restocking, and the maintenance in aspects of their functionalities and their cleaning aspects, hygienic measures, all the hygienic measures must be taken to assure that the food items are sold in proper conditions. Yes, yes, of course. That is a responsibility of the company, and that can be, of course, monitored by the competent agency and regulatory agency. Because regarding food legislation, they must be accomplished the same as a food establishment. Of course, we are selling food, so this is also public health concern if the foods are not in good conditions.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So, like you're saying, Japan is the world leader in vending machines.
Yes.
Yeah. In India, like we see it in metro cities like Delhi, in the airports, in the metros,
Yes.
and supermarkets. Not all supermarkets, in the malls. So,
Mm.
like here, we have only packaged foods. They're all already packed.
You can find fresh foods on vending machines.
No, not. I've never seen fresh foods, but maybe in some places, like in airports, where there is high turnover, they put these perishable items there, like sandwiches sometimes.
Yes, because of course the management of fresh foods and ready-to-eat foods, the shelf life is different. For example, a package of snack chips or everything or pastry, it can be even a soft drink. The preoccupation regarding the shelf life is not a problem. So, and the fresh products, you must know very well the consumption that regarded with that machine, if the product will be expanded or not, if the product will be sold or not. Otherwise, or otherwise we are throwing to the trash that products, because you have a shelf life 3, 4, 5 days at most, and of course the companies think on getting money. And if the people also buy the non-perishable foods, even being not the healthier options or healthier choices, it's easier for the companies to manage over, and not only to have the products in the machine. The transportation, and we see that the transportation was one of the most relevant concerns and problems we found for the contamination of foods. And the contamination of foods were on sandwiches, was on those perishable foods that need some special conditions of transportation, maintenance, and then to be sold in that few days they are exposed in the machine. So if the companies have profits and people buy non-perishable foods, for sure the companies also prefer to have them because their main goal is to get profit from the products they sold. I believe that is the reason because you see in the most of cases non-perishable foods in the machines, and in my country also at the beginnings was like that. First with that kind of foods, and then of course with all the claims and all the studies and the work of the public health entities, you see that the need to have other kinds of foods also in the machines, but the population, the consumers must be awareness to consume that kind of foods because it is not only to include different options, more fresh foods, non-perishable foods in the machines. If the people, if the consumer doesn't buy it, that will not work for the company. Don't forget that is a company that the main goal is to make money to survive economically. So that is also a challenge. But of course, in the last years, at least in Europe, we are seeing that the products we see in the machines are changing, and also in non-perishable foods. For example, I see some machines with some organic products, for example, with cookies with low sugar content. So also different options within the non-perishable foods. Yes, of course, some of them the price is different. Yes, that is, but that is the same when you go into supermarket. For example, we are see, for example, a non-gluten product. The price is different for the traditional one, and some kind of machines have also this kind of products that some years ago that was impossible. So the problem is not the machine. The problem can be what we include in the machine, because of course the benefits can be distinctive. The simply fact of you can have a 24-hour device that provides you food. I think that is wonderful, with no need of any kind of human resource. If it works well, why not? Why not? The problem is we and most of the population associate these devices, these vending machines, with wrong food habits, with junk food, with that is because of the what is normally included in the machines. Because if people demand other kind of products and if people buy other kind of products from the machines, the companies, of course, will change it.
Yes,
That's right.
if we change that to healthy
Yes.
food, then it will be very.
Yes, yes. The question is, we demand the changes, but then if the company make these changes, but we don't buy, of course the company will not make more changes in that way. So we must be aware of it. We cannot not only say I don't buy anything from there because it is only junk food or it is only unhealthy food. But if the companies make some trying to change the foods that are within their machines and see that people don't consume it, they return once again to the products that they know they sell. That is once again the importance, of course, all of us are conscious about uh, our our eating habits, about our food choices, because it is not only to say it is very good to eat more vegetables, more fruits, but then when we are in the presence in our daily options to make, when we go to lunch, to dinner, to every meal, and at the moment we forget the things that we want, and we put vegetables aside and fruits, and we want another unhealthier option. So what will determine what is within the machines? It is the behavior of the consumers. Not only what the consumers tell or allegate, but the way they will behave. That is the most important. Because companies and the food vending machine companies are like every companies want to give you the product you are looking for. If you are looking for a salty food product, I will give you the salty food product. If you want the sweet, I will give you the sweet. If you want fruit and vegetables, I will give you the fruit and vegetables. I want to provide the most desirable item for you. That is the point.
So one thing I learned is from your article, which was very surprising, is one machine per 31 citizens in Japan. And India, we don't even have basic facilities like ATM machines or something for more than even hundreds or thousands per machine per these many.
Yes.
So there must be something specific to Japan that it is so successful that probably if they're saying 1 per 30, it must be in every nook and corner of the country.
Yes, and of course it is also other perception and other economy. We don't forget, of course, these devices are not so cheap. So it must be cost effectively for the companies that want to invest in the buying of this, and then what they will sold. Of course, we don't need to pay a salary for a person to being preparing or serving the meals, but you have to make an initial investment in buying these devices. You will have the electricity costs to make the devices work. So all of this must be thinking, and if it will work for you, for your environment, for your place, for your perspective, all of this must be studied. And I don't know, maybe here in India, see that perhaps that it is not working so good than in the other places. It will depend, of course, the context. The context is very, very important for sure.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, will there be a high wastage of food products and packaging materials while when we are using vending machine than the normal basis, than the normal restaurants or shops?
Yes, of course, the products in the vending machines are packages, but you can have fresh products in that package. A meal that was prepared in the early morning package and sold in that day, and you go to the machine, and that is your lunch. Of course, all of this has to be properly managed and thinking for the reasons we have stated before. To don't have problems of the shelf life be surpassed, of not be contaminated, and all the aspects regarding to the transportation from the place you prepare that meal, the way you package, and the way that package needs to be from the local was produced to the machine. So, and at the end, if people will not consume, of course, companies will leave this kind of products to be included in the machine. It's much easier to introduce a package of salty snack, salt potatoes, everything you want, confectionery, a soda. It's much easier for the company. But people are demanding, of course, healthier options and other kind of products, and that can be provided in the machine. And if it works, why not?
And sir, how this waste will be treated? Like if there is a lot of waste materials produced from vending machine, how it will be treated without causing problem to the environment?
Based products for what? For the machine?
Yeah, like the waste products which is after packaging, the packaging materials which is left, and from after packaging of the products, the material which is left over, how will like they will manage this waste materials without causing problem for the environment?
That will depend on the particular user of the vending machine, and how many consumers you have for that vending machines. As an example, we have some vending machines that are in the hospitals that those machines must be restocked in the same day twice. So that is not a problem for what you mentioned. Of course, in other places, we have a vending machine that very fewer consumption, and the consumers go there much rarely. So of course, that can be what are you mentioning. That can be a problem. So all of this must be studied, and perhaps one type of machine and some types of foods can work very well in one environment, but not in others. So this must be taken into consideration. Of course, we can have some kind of non-harmful packages for the environment of foods, of meals that are prepared in the same day, consumed in the same day, and expanded in vending machines. But in other cases, that will be more complicated because there are not much consumers that go to that machine, and of course that must be studied by the company to see what kind of foods, what kind of vending machine I want to put in that environment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, what are the main food safety challenges in operating vending machine? This kind of vending machine arises.
The the most challenges are related with these ready to eat meals, with this prepared food, with these perishable foods, because and also the watering machines, because I don't know if you have the opportunity to see in the inside of a watering vending machines. They are composed by several pieces, and due to the high frequency of use of these machines, especially in some environments like hospitals, like companies that have a lot of consumers, it is very easy to get in dirt conditions the machine. So you need to have a very specific and good cleaning and disinfection program for that machine, and cleaning very frequently. Otherwise, you have the chocolate powder, milk powder, water. So if you don't clean it, you will have the proper condition for microbe and insects development in the machine. So related to operating machines, that is the problem. And of course, a machine when you have ready-to-eat foods or fresh products, salads, vegetables, sandwiches with some kind of sauces, of course, the temperature condition, not only the temperature inside the machine, but the transportation that along all the food chain from the place these foods were prepared and were taken from that place, how many time we will spend on transport those products to the machine and in which conditions. Do you have any kind of refrigerated vehicle or refrigerated conditions to keep the temperature at 4 or 5 Celsius degrees between the place where they are transported to the machine? In some cases, the answer is no.
Hygiene and temperature.
Yes, of course, the controlling temperature is very important, and that was one of the reasons we found for these contaminations. We found microbial contaminations in these products, of course, and in some cases it is not easy. So, food companies, if people consume non-perishable foods and packaged foods, and they will not demand this kind of specifications for food companies, better, because it's easier, very easier to manage.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, in order to track the hygienic conditions and the humidity and temperature, can we introduce smart sensors inside these vending machines?
Depends the cost of it. Yes, of course we can. My answer is yes, and you have the funding conditions for that, and to make the products at a reasonable price for the consumers. We must always to think on that, and when we are thinking on research and investigating, you can find very interesting options. But are they real from the point of view then for the final price of the product? That is a very important question. Of course, there are very possibilities that we can think on to better control this. But first is to provide the suppliers, to provide the companies the conditions to maintain the temperature at the right temperatures that the products need to be. And then, of course, to monitor their temperatures, it is very, very important, of course, and that can be made for someone responsible of the company. That is the implementation of hazard analysis critical control points. One of the premises is to monitor, not only to implement the good practices, good hygiene practices, good manufacturing practices, but then it is also my responsibility to monitor that everything is going well. So see, in fact, what is the interior temperature of the products, of the food products contained in the machine. That in good conditions is the temperature of these food products during the transportation process. The vehicle, the place where these products are transported are the ideal ones. So we have to, time to time, to check this and see if we are doing everything well. Very important, very important.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, considering the current trends and uses, do you think vending machine have the potential to promote a sustainable, healthy lifestyle in the future?
Yes, that will always depends on how we use the vending machine, what we will put on the vending machine. Is on the same way of when we think on buying the products from a market or from a supermarket. The difference is here we don't have any kind of human resource that will give you the food, and you have 24 hours possibility of getting the food from the machine. Of course, with these specifications and the products that are contained in the machine, of course, we can have more sustainable, less sustainable options there. But yes, we can think on more sustainable, of course, if we promote the consumption of fresh products and to introduce on the machines only fresh products, and this machine has a high frequently use of consumption, and the clients go there to have their lunch meals, and then the machine will be restocked totally in the next day. We can have a vending machine only with fresh products. Why not? That will depend on the environment, the consumption, the consumer options, and of course what the vending companies will idealize for them. But yes, we can. It is not. It is not mandatory to make the association a vending machine with bad food options. Bad food options for regarding health, regarding sustainability, regarding price. No, that is not. Perhaps most of people make this association, but this cannot be true. We can make some change on this.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, in terms of food security,
In food security.
yes, sir. What is your point of view regarding I'm talking specifically about fruit cutting vending machines.
But which aspect of food security regarding the food availability, food access, food safety, everything?
Okay, because I think, in my point of view, this is not a sustainable approach because the chances of microbial contamination is high, electricity consumption is high, the cleaning processes are also very costly, and vending machines is also very costly. So
Yes,
what?
but you don't pay a salary for people. When you go to a canteen, you see how many people you have there. You have to pay the salary for those people.
Yes, sir.
And taxes.
But I think it's not a sustainable approach in my point of view.
Economically, I say no.
Yes, sir.
Definitely no. And in the canteen, I've also spent in electricity. The costs are very higher, and that's one of the main reasons of the increasing of this industry. The costs are very higher when you need to have to pay salaries to people, and you have also expenditures in electricity, and you are limited for a timetable of the schedule of serving those meals. A vending machine, of course, you need electricity. You can put it here, and it will work 24 hours with no extra money you need to spend on it, only the electricity and the initial investment in buying the device, but also to construct the facilities of food establishments. It's even higher with all related, all the equipment, all the human resources, all of for the building, everything. If we will focus on the costs, much higher in other industries, not the vending machines. Of course, there are some limitations of what we can have in the vending machines compared with the establishments, but also the technology is getting more evoluted, and we have some new technology, and a lot of different kinds of food can be sold and can be sold in these devices. Of course, not everything is an advantage, but from the economic point of view, sustainable economic point of view, I can see how the costs are higher in the vending compared with the traditional selling food.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you.
So one thing more,
Yes, please.
sir, as I cut a fruit, when I cut a fruit, I so it's all ripen or immature or whatever many factors that I decide this fruit is not consumable. Then how the fruit cutting vending machines decided? They
Yes,
have a specific type of sensor.
that is, of course, the responsibility is of the human, of the people that will
But sir,
restock the vending machine, that must assure that all the food products there are in good conditions. And of
sir,
course, it's
but
some kind
our
of product.
eyes have also not any kind of specific sensor that outer appearance
Yes, you
cannot be
can think on
defined.
that, and if it is cost effective, perfect. I have nothing against that. My only question is, and it is a question. It is not. I'm not
Sir,
affirming
I only
nothing.
want to know
Yes.
if there is any kind of sensor
Now,
regarding this.
from my knowledge and from what we have at least in Europe, in Portugal, no, because the cost of it, it is not effective. So it will make the price of the end product very high. So that is fine, at least this time regarding investigation or academic. But for the consumer will not pay that. He prefers to bring the fruit from other place, or even take the car and go to other place to get the product, than to pay 3, 5, or more for the product. You have to think on that. And perhaps, of course, some people prefer to consume some kind of foods not from vending because they are afraid that, of course, the fruit can be oxidized or can be so very good. So I prefer to go to the market and buy.
But sir,
Of
some
course,
fruit like pineapple is very difficult to cut. So
yes, of course, not all kind of fruits can be the easier fruits. For example, I see mostly apples and the banana, pear. It's easier than, for example, a pineapple or a melon, or only if they are cut and processed. But of course, the price will be different. It's the same when you go to the supermarket. If you buy the pineapple, the entire pineapple, or if you have already the pineapple processed, okay, the price is different even in the supermarket. And in a vending machine, you can put the pineapple without being processed, and the price will be different.
thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insight.
Thank you very much for your question. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My question is, are there any self-cleaning options in vending machines?
That would be good, but no,
Not
no,
yet.
it is not yet, not yet. Perhaps with robotics, with all the technology in the near future, we can find some device or some technology that can self-clean the machine, or we press the button and it's. But at this time, no. We need to have some people, food handlers that restock the machine and see if everything from the technical point of view are working with the machine, and to clean the machine properly. This is made by people, by humans. Yes, that would be an interesting project to find some kind of self-cleaning machine. Yes, why not? Why not?
That will decrease the contamination
Yes,
or
yes,
the degree
yes.
of it, and
Totally
people
agree.
will be more inclined towards using the machine.
Yes, yes. If we find some interesting and effective self-cleaning machine way of machine, that would be very interesting.
Thank you, sir.
Interesting project. Nice idea.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, like I think like with the rise of vending machines, maybe some people lose the chance of employability.
Yes, that can be a problem, of course. That they will, but that is the problem not only with vending machines, that with advancements of all technologies, of robotics, everything, it is not losing the specifications of the jobs are different. It is not we are losing some kind of jobs, but winning another type of jobs. So yes, but that is true for sure. People that could work on a canteen now they are not needed if you are a machine. That is true. That is one of the drawbacks. Yes, for sure, for sure. But it is needed also personal specialized in learning about how the machine works to supply the food to the machines, make the transportation. So we need more in other place the people for working. But of course, in the canteens, perhaps not so much people needed.
Thank you, sir.
Totally agree. An important point. Any more question? Comment? No?
Something you would like to share? Anyone?
No? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for another insightful and eye-opening session. Your lecture on vending machines, food safety and quality assessment focused on food handlers and the variables involved in the industry shed light on an area we often overlook in our daily lives, how automated food systems operate and how critical hygiene, maintenance and proper training of food handlers are to ensuring the safety and quality of the food we consume. It was fascinating to learn about the role of HACCP systems, the microbiological risk involved, and how even factors like cleaning frequency and temperature control can make a significant difference in food safety. The talk truly reminded us that technology and human responsibility must go hand in hand to maintain trust and safety in modern food services. With that, we conclude the second lecture of the day. I would once again like to thank Dr. Antonio Rapso for sharing his expertise with us and for giving us such valuable insights throughout today's sessions. Now it's time for a break. Please join us for lunch and take this opportunity to relax, interact, and reflect on today's discussions. Thank you.